Hi everybody! So I wanted to share with you guys the type of dried fruits that I eat. First of all, if I consume any dried fruit at all on a raw vegan diet, because I guess this can be very debatable. It can be very debatable. I know for me, I do choose to consume dried fruits, but I know I don't eat them all the time though, because I know when you eat dried fruit, that you can get some teeth issues because it sticks to your teeth and it's not really fully hydrated with the water and everything. But I think it is most definitely a good backup and a good addition to a fully raw vegan diet, though, because it can be a very good backup and a good savior in certain times, in certain situations. Because sometimes you can find yourself in a situation where there's just no really good raw fruits available, and so a good backup could be, well, of course, frozen fruit, but dried fruit. But then also, if you find yourself traveling a lot, or going on a hike or something, or you find yourself in a situation where you can't haul a bunch of raw fruit with you, dried fruit is really good because dried fruit still has a lot of vitamins and minerals in it too. It's just kind of been dehydrated, meaning the water's been taken out. I wanted to share with you the types of dried fruit and kind of how I dry fruit also, because number one, I don't have a dehydrator and I don't plan on getting one because I think that defeats the purpose of a raw vegan diet. But I mean, I know you can heat plant foods up to a certain temperature and they can still be classified as raw. That's completely fine. If you guys are into that stuff and have a dehydrator, that is completely fine. You do whatever floats your little boats, okay? For me, I don't want to have any more pieces of items in the kitchen. A juicer and a Vitamix is good enough. I don't even really use those heavily because I like to eat the fruits and vegetables whole in their whole state. But most certainly I have juices and smoothies, of course, and then make dressings and all of that. And then as far as dried fruits go, I still do consume dried fruit. One other thing I wanted to mention about dried fruit is I do believe that we would consume dried fruit in nature, because when you think about it, I mean, if you come upon a tree, sometimes there's certain fruits that haven't been picked and they get to a point where they're overripe, or they drop to the ground and they can start drying out, because there's some of you who have told me that you've had actual raisins still on the stems, like you've seen a grapes on their vine, but you've seen them to a point where they've actually dried out and turned into raisins, shriveled into little raisins still on their plant. So, and I think about certain other fruits that the tree has dropped its bared fruit and everything, but then if it's in a sunshiny type area, it would dry out, and I think we would come upon it and we would consume it. You just wouldn't consume it all the time on a regular basis. It'd be mostly the raw, fresh fruit with all the water intact. But number one, I guess, I don't know if you can classify this as a dried fruit or not, but dates. Everybody knows about dates. Everybody eats dates and has dates. You can never go wrong with dates, okay? There's so many different types of dates on this planet too. It's unreal, incomprehensible, and to try each and every one should be your goal. Same with all the other fruits out there and everything, but the ones that are available to me on a regular basis throughout the year are these Hadley dates. So it's the best I can do. I buy the Deglet Nor dates, and then also there's Zahidi dates also that are available, but then also Medjool dates, of course. But I most certainly do not really eat them on a regular basis because sometimes I'll have a meal of them, but when I'm picking them out, I try to go for the softest ones possible, because when they are shriveled up and dried like that, they're just not desirable to me. Not at all. But I like using them in smoothies, and most definitely the medjool dates in my dressings for added sweetness for the dressings, which is really good. But most certainly, you guys, I am aware of 7 hot dates because I believe dates, we were meant to eat dates in like straight from the tree when they're just oozing their sweetness from the tree. I mean, because 7 hot dates, I order from 7 hot dates when prepare, guys, prepare. They come up, they open up in September, which is coming upon us now, and I always order the wet packs because they just melt in your hand before you can even get to your mouth, and that is the way we were meant to eat dates, not in a dried form like this, okay? We were meant to eat them soft and ooey gooey, and they have a completely different texture and flavor when they're in that stage. It's unreal. And so I do consume dates, of course, everybody does, but I also order from Amazon.com. I have found and have grown to really like the Sakari dates. I have tried a lot of different types of dates in the past, and I love Ajwa dates, those pure black ones. Those ones are really good, but I really like these Sakari dates. These Sakari dates, they're only available to me online. I order them through Amazon.com, but they remind me of graham crackers, peanut butter, and frosted caramel, but more on the graham cracker, caramel side, more on the, well, I guess graham cracker side, but I get hints of peanut butter in it, and they are not completely dried out. They are like the in-between stage where they're turning into like a crusty frosting, you know, from leftover from like the junky food cake, you know, like a birthday cake that you used to eat. You know, if the frosting's been left out for a while, it kind of develops that crust on it. Well, it's kind of got that crusty frosted texture and flavor to them, but they're also soft also, and they just like hit the spot for me very well. And they have a graham cracker flavor to them, which I love. I used to love eating graham crackers, so these have that effect, and so I eat those. But then I am a fig fanatic. Okay, one of you guys have also commented to me that even if you can't get fresh figs, you buy dried figs just so you can take care of your fig craving. Well, I do the same thing, you guys. I mean, throughout the year, I try to eat the fruits, of course, when they're in season. That's best also. But throughout the year, I am, like I said, I'm a fig fanatic. I love figs, and I will hunt down any type of fig that I can. Most certainly, I go for the raw first, which I know is only offered at a very select time in the fall time, which is right now. So, but I also, once fig season is over, I buy these figs. It's Fruit Bliss. I know it makes absolutely no sense, but it is dried fruit. It is the dried fig, but then infused with water. So right there, that's what it says. Is it's just organic dried figs and water, which makes absolutely no sense. But when I don't have fresh figs available to me, I'm gonna go for these types of figs because these were rehydrated and they are just absolutely delectable, and they're soft, better on digestion, because I know there's some figs you can buy dried and they are like rock hard, but then they are softer also. I love I think it's the Made in Nature dried Kalamurna figs or Smyrna figs. They're like golden delicious figs. They are so delectable. But I found out about this Fruit Bliss, and I enjoyed this a lot better because the figs were softer and they just digested a lot better, and they weren't so dried out, and I didn't have to drink a ton of water afterwards to get rehydrated. So I go for this type. This is more expensive, of course, but more worth it, and I like it this way. And of course you can take your figs and rehydrate them yourself, but I don't want to rehydrate them in my tap water, and so I choose to invest them in this and pay the little bit more expensive price for this. These are $4.99 for a 5-ounce pack, so that's very expensive, but I'm willing to pay that to satisfy my fig craving, you know. So and then for fruits, guys, I do like to dry apples and pears and even bananas. Oh, and whoa. And bananas. And is what I like to do is when I do that myself, I'll thinly slice the fruit and just lay them out on a plastic tray. A reused plastic tray from my other containers of fruits that I bought at the store, and I just let them air dry for a day or two, and they taste really good. That's what I do. I don't add no lemon juice or anything to it. The browning doesn't bother me, so that's what I do with a lot of apples, mainly apples, but pears are really good too, drying pears. But bananas also, when you dry bananas or just let them air dry, they turn into like a donut, cakey donut. Someone has done raw vegan cinnamon rolls, which I have yet to try that recipe, and they dehydrate bananas, but I'm like, I don't want to literally dehydrate bananas. I want to do it as natural as possible, so I let it air dry, and they turn out just as good. They just turn soft and gooey, but yet, and someone said that something magical happens to them, and they aren't kidding. Something magical happens when you kind of dry out bananas. They're super good that way, so you should try it. And hopefully maybe I can do a video on it too to show you guys, but holy mackerel, it transforms what you think about a standard yellow banana. It does turn it into like a cakey donut. It's amazing. But so that's what I do for dried fruits, you guys. The explanation on all of that, and it's the best that I can do, and that's the type of dried fruits that I eat. Oh, I also eat raisins too once in a while, but I'm just not really a big fan of raisins, really. But I'm more into like the dried figs, and of course the dates. You can never go wrong with dates, but you can never go wrong with figs either. So okay guys, so I'll stop babbling. That's what I do, guys. Again, I do the best that I can up here in Alaska, being raw and everything, and so hopefully that helped you in some way. So remember to love being raw, you guys. Put a big old smile on your face today. I hope I did that for you guys, and I'll see you next video, okay? Bye guys.